Hey friends, Alvin here. This is your November 2025 snapshot. We have a couple of exciting things coming up already, and there's more things coming down the pipe. But first, I want to remind you that at the beginning of November, we have our first Ascent Regional Retreat at Camp Quaston. This is actually a sold-out retreat already. And we are looking forward to having Matt Benny, who is actually one of our own youth pastors from First Baptist Welland, who will be sharing God's word with us. But one of the great things is that this is a chance for us, and as a group, as these 8 different churches are coming together and groups are coming together, to see what God might have in store for us, to help us to slow down a bit, to consider what is the next step towards Jesus as we firmly plant our identity in his foundation. And so that's one of the key things that we'll be looking at this for that weekend of Ascent. And if you weren't able to make it to that one, we actually also have 3 more coming up in April and May. And so all the details for those are available at cboq.ca/ascent. Some of you might be doing your own youth retreats, or maybe you're collaborating with a few other churches around you to do these retreats. And so if you are, we would love to hear more about them. What kinds of things are you doing? What kinds of things are you learning? Maybe there's ways that we could potentially even support you. And so feel free to reach out to me and would love to be able to discuss what does that look like. That's one of the key things that we are trying to do over the next few years is we want to encourage our churches to be able to have some kind of retreat experience for their youth, whether you have a formal youth program or not. And so our hope is that maybe in about 2 or 3 years, that 75% of our churches will actually have some kind of retreat experience for their youth. And so if you're already doing that, aside from what we're doing, we would love to find ways to support you in that. Also in November is our Center Court event. This is a game happening on November the 23rd. It is a Sunday night game, a little bit earlier than usual for tip-off. At 6 p.m., they're playing the Brooklyn Nets, but bigger than that is that we get a chance to go courtside after the game. And so we have Herbie Kuhn, the voice and the co-chaplain of the Raptors, who will be emceeing for us. And hopefully we're going to have a special guest with us that day. But for some of our students, we're going to get a chance for you to actually do some stuff on the court. And so there's still a few tickets available, depending on when you're watching this, but you can find out more information at cboq.ca/centercourt25. I know many of our churches have been asking, especially since Assembly, what is happening with 5-to-1 church? This is actually something that we were originally planning to pilot through a few churches, and actually the interest in this exploded. And so we are just catching up now, and hopefully during November that we will be able to release that information, at least the first phase of the information to you. And so be on the lookout for that. We'll be sending some email communication out, and we'll be giving some people notices about when that stuff is coming out. So in the meantime, if you have any questions about what this means, feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to tell you more. Just to give a bit of a teaser going into the new year, a couple of things that we're also going to be spearheading alongside with you. One is that we are going to be encouraging different youth ministries, in fact, every youth ministry, to have some kind of youth ministry handbook. This doesn't have to be elaborate or complicated, but this is meant to be something where it helps to explain why youth ministry happens at your particular church and what are some of the things that you do with it. And so we're going to have some resources available for you to be able to walk through that if you don't already have it. Maybe you already have one. And so I would love to come alongside and just even take a look at it and maybe help you to tweak it and make it more effective. You know, one of the great things about having that handbook is not necessarily to have another document for you to read, but rather it is meant to have something that gives people a clear understanding of what does youth ministry mean at your church. And so if there are ways that we can help you in not just creating that, maybe revising it, maybe strengthening it, we would love to do that with you. The other thing that we'll be starting to talk more about in the new year is the idea of continuing education. It could be some kind of formal education, whether it is a master's program or something else, but also what are some other ways that you're continuing to grow and develop as a youth leader? And so those are things that we're at least starting to tease with you right now. But there are other things that we are going to be exploring in this coming new year. And so if there are things that you're already doing, would love to hear more about it. So reach out to me, and I would love to hear what are some of the things that you're already doing. We're just a few weeks away from Advent. This is the start of that Christmas season. And while it may be snowing by then, maybe there are some great festivities happening. One of the key things is that we continue to remember why Jesus came in the first place and what exactly his arrival meant for us. And as we anticipate the return of him in the future. But in the meantime, as you prepare for this Advent season, we want to remind you that our CBOQ family has some resources for you available. If you go to baptist.ca/advent, you can find out more information about that. And so while the weather seems to be getting a little bit cooler now, we are looking forward to seeing the different ways that you are walking alongside the students both in your church and your neighborhood. And we would love to hear more about it, even ways that we can pray alongside you. So feel free to reach out. We are always more than willing to hear what God is continuing to do in your neighborhood, in your sphere of influence, in your pocket of Ontario and Quebec. And so, as you continue through November, blessings to you, and looking forward to hearing more about what God continues to do through our family of churches.